And this afternoon, mango farmers in the Yilo Krobo municipality still have started selling off their farmlands following the invasion of a disease that is ravaging large tracts of farmlands there, known as the Bacterial Black Spot. The bacteria actually attacks leaves, twigs, and as well as the mango fruit itself. The farmers say they have no option but to sell their farmlands because of the high cost associated with maintaining the farms in the wake of this disease. Joy News' Samuel Kujo-Brace has the rest of the story.
It's discouraging. To be frank, it's discouraging because you invest a lot, you invest so much. And then at the end of the season, when you are ready to harvest, you see BBS destroying your fruits. And most of the farmers have started selling their farms because of this particular BBS issue.
Obed Amevo owns this 10-acre mango farm here at Somenya. Mango farming has been his livelihood in the past 15 years. Obed says all looked good until recently when disaster struck. A disease called the Bacterial Black Spot, popularly known as BBS, attacked farms in Yilo Krobo and its environs, and his was not spared. Last year alone, he lost more than half of his investment to this disease.
This BBS issue has been a problem for all the farmers, all mango farmers for the past years. And surprisingly, we've been making all the noise, but for instance, last season I was supposed to harvest for HPW after farm assessment. When they did the farm assessment, I was hitting almost 36 tons. I was only able to harvest I got just about 11 tons.
What?
Yes. And they can testify to that, HPW can testify to that. The association also did this assessment, and that is what is happening. Even if you can look on the ground now, you see, this is as a result of last season. And nobody knows what will happen this season because the rains have not started yet. But once the rain starts, nobody knows what will happen. It's really bad. It's really making us lose a lot. That is the truth. You see the fruits we have here. Look, these nice fruits. It has started. Give it 2 days, by the time you come back, the crack is just, and the whole fruit will fall on the floor. So this is the problem. Seriously, this is the problem. It used to be profitable. Some years back, it was very good, very profitable because we didn't have these problems. It used to be very, very profitable. If somebody tells you it is not.
Somenya is arguably Ghana's biggest hub for mango cultivation. Unlike other communities in Ghana, mango farmers here are able to harvest twice in a year. So this BBS is something that is causing a lot of headaches here. Experts say Bacterial Black Spot is a serious mango disease that may result in a 50 to 80% reduction in fruit production. Daniel Asoji is also a mango farmer who knows this disease so well.
Preferably when you come and then you scout for the mangoes. You come and then you look on the mango and then you see the symptoms. For now, you can see these symptoms over here. You see some water dripping. Sometimes it might be as a result of cutlass cut. But as a farmer who has been in the farming for a long time, when you look at this side, you see that there's a mark over here before the water is dripping out. So these are the symptoms of the BBS. So these are direct symptoms of BBS. So normally it cracks like this, the water drips. And then when it rains, with humid conditions, then they begin to multiply. You see this as one. The next 2 days or 3 days when you come, you see another mark here, you see another mark here, and then you can identify that, yeah, this is indeed BBS. Yes.
So if I see, or if a farmer sees something like this on his or her farm, which is Bacterial Black Spot, you call BBS, what can he or she do to prevent the spread?
Yeah, there are a whole lot of things you have to do. Basically, you don't have to wait for it to get to this stage before you start the treatment. Beginning of the season, we have some treatment that we do as preventive measures. We do copper-based fungicide. You know, when you spray copper, it sometimes heals the wound. But you don't have to let it get to this stage before you do the copper application. We have some applications we do. Preferably, the start of the season, you start with the copper-based fungicide, and then you apply it about in an interval of 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the weather conditions. Sometimes when it gets to this stage, there's nothing you can do. Yes, but you have to use some preventive measures before it gets to this stage. But you know, we have what we call the pre-harvest interval. Sometimes you don't have to wait for it to mature before you start the application, because the chemical has the chemicals we use, that the copper-based fungicide, they have pre-harvest interval. The interval that you have to spray before it gets matured, and then the mangoes will be safe for consumption. So you have to time the season, or the time. You have to look at the time well. Maybe, you know, this mango like this is about 2 months to maturity. So for now, you can do your copper-based application. But when it's matured, I think there's nothing you can do. You just have to leave it for it to go waste.
Obed, who has been grappling with this disease, says the situation is not making mango farming attractive any longer. Sadly, he says many of his compatriots have started selling off their farms.
It's discouraging. To be frank, it's discouraging because you invest a lot when it comes to mango business. It is capital intensive, that everybody knows. You invest so much, and then at the end of the season, the later part of the season when you are ready to harvest, you see BBS destroying your fruits. And most of the farmers have started selling off of their farms because of this particular BBS issue. That is the result. They always tell you, when you ask them, they will tell you, look, BBS is making me lose. And that is why they are all selling. So that is the problem. The problem is the BBS. For now, almost every farmer knows how to handle the others. But BBS is the only problem because there's no solution to it as at now. And to be frank, you waste money, you spend money on your farm. It's not like you waste it. You spend money on your farm. If the association tells you how much you have to spend on an acre to be able to make it, and you spend all this money, multiply, if you are supposed to spend, let's say, roughly 6,000 on an acre for the whole season, and you have 20 acres, multiply and see. And then at the end of the season, all this goes down the drain. You harvest and you're not even able to make what you are supposed to make. Then what are you doing in the business? That is how come we are all selling our lands. That is the problem. Yes. If you come here when we are entering the harvest season, like a week or two to get into the harvest season, you realize that show you the fruits on the floor is devastating and heartbreaking. It's not encouraging for a new person to come into the business and see these things. Well, as a businessman, sometimes you have your regrets, but as a businessman, you need to keep taking the risks until the solution is done. But to be frank, most of the farmers have regretted.
The young farmer, Obed, says they have been searching for a lasting solution to the situation, but they are yet to get help. He says the farmers are unsure about what to do next.
If they tell you they are not aware, it's a lie. We have told them. They have been to our farms. We've gone to meetings with them. The association have made all the noise that it's supposed to make. We are only at the mercy of NGOs and processors who comes to do trainings for us. And even those trainings are to manage it and not to prevent it or to even cure it. It is just to manage it, to reduce it. But even that, the chemicals are expensive. We are trying to do what we can do, but it's bad. Because what I don't understand is, when Black Spot started in cocoa, they were all rushing there. Why we are also fighting for the same problem and they are not rushing here? That's the question I always keep asking myself. Yes, we've had discussions with Dr. Bila. The universities are there, Dr. Hongako, and they all tell us there's nothing they can do about it. We only have to manage it. That is the trainings they give us. They tell you, for now, they're only asking us to use copper-based fungicides to manage it. And they're also doing what they can do with the trials. We are hoping that they come out with something.
With the cost of farm input soaring, farmers are struggling. Gideon Do Bokome is the chairman of Yilo Krobo Mango Farmers Association.
The biggest challenge is funds. You see, we need funds and we need research, proper research to be done. Currently, This one, the chemicals, when they bring it, we are doing it. You see somebody's doing somewhere, someone is doing this one somewhere. But we need the government to get involved. There is that Greek institutions to get involved. The universities should get involved because that is the only way we can solve it. Because it's the whole Ghana, not only Yilo. It's the whole Ghana. The whole mango industry is on its nails. And if we don't solve it, the system will collapse. We will lose our investment, and to be honest, a lot of people will be unemployed. So why don't we invest into it? You understand? Yes. So that's the biggest thing is funds, and then the research works. We've gone to them. Even I can even give currently there's one person sponsoring some research. Even that one, Dr. Oga is doing it. They are all is about funds. How the research money, where they will get money to do the research. That's all they are talking about. You know, we are even trying to see if possible we can go into organic, and even that one we are having challenges because we need an expert to help us in the organic. Even so some of our members are trying it, but the issue is it's all boiled down to funds and the research officers to help us out. That's all.
So in the meantime, how expensive is it to control this infestation?
Very expensive because you have to buy Bion. Bion, a liter of Bion is, I think, is about 1,000 cedis. You need to buy copper. Every 2 weeks you have to spray copper. You know, every 2 weeks you have to make sure you interchange copper. Both system copper, you have to interchange copper. And the more you do it, so the more you are having copper on the fruit. And that's the only way you can prevent it. And within 4 weeks you have to stop using the copper.
The impact of this disease is not only felt on the farms. Traders involved in mango business are all crying of the debilitating effects of the BBS. Eno has been selling mangoes for the past 13 years. She recounts how the disease is affecting her home.
The BBS no one. Uko tobe goa. Ubo say every penepro. Nti ubeto wie no. The aye papa do wom na obeye selection no. Na aye oka. Oh. Eno na ama ye we no, ye market no abadan kakra no. Nti momwae. Se ekoto mango no begu ho a. Na ne nyina aye yenka. Uto mango 50 million. Ubeto na aka 10 million pe. Ti sika nyina ye basa. Ti aban wo ya mobo na ba boa ye. Na ye ho chire ye. Nkom akom be ku ye ne ye ma. Aban wo ya mobo wae. Akufado ye srew. Edi kotodwe pauchew. Beche na BBS haye ye kru no mo kwato eduro ubekwa kwato eduro be 100 million udi ba be spray mango no na ni nyina aya oka mango ni titu aban huyamabo ne be boaye.
Even bigger companies that rely on the mango farmers here for their raw materials are all feeling the pinch of the effect of this disease. Yao Ening is the mango superintendent of HPW Fresh and Dry Limited, a processing company based in Adesso. He says this disease has taken a heavy toll on the operations.
The BBS normally affects the farmers and then the buyers. First, it normally drops some of the fruits on ground. And then when the processors also buy, we also have rotting of the fruit at the factories. You know, the company also pay for the transportation. So when the fruits have a lot of BBS, then the company will also run at loss in terms of the transportation they convey from the farm gate to the factory. Yeah. So I don't know, the quantity you're supposed to buy per season because of the BBS is almost reduced drastically. So we are not getting the quantity you are supposed to get at the end of the season. If all things be equals in terms of climatic condition and other things, last minor season, we're supposed to get around 6,000 tons of mango. But then we only had around 2,000 tons of mango. So I don't know, most of the fruits were affected by BBS and it was dropped down and we didn't get the quantity that you're supposed to get at the end of the season. Again, we also pay their transport of conveying the fruit from the farm gate to the factory. And it's also a cost. I don't say it increased our production cost because the rotten ones need to be removed from the crates before they can also process the quality ones.
A troubled Obed Amevo had a message for the government.
They should just come to our aid. I wish one day the president himself or the Minister of Agric himself will come to the field and see what is happening. He's only hearing the news from his people and all that, but I wish he would come to the field and see how devastating it is for him to come up with a solution. They should just do a research for us and give us a solution, that is all. Other countries have been able to do it. South Africa has been able to do it. Brazil, they are all doing it. They are able to manage it. They are able to bring it to a minimum 2%, 3%. Why can't we do the same thing? Money is being pumped every day into our agric. Why can't we divert some of that money into this research? They should just come out, just as they have done with other ones like the fruit flies and the anthracnose and all that. They should just come out with something. Just give us a research, pump all the money there and give us a solution. If they want the farmers to contribute towards that, they should come out with something so that we all go into it. We just need solution to the BBS. That is our problem for now. Let us find solution to the BBS, then we'll start looking for other problems like marketing.
In all of this, the Agric Ministry is expected to take a giant step in dealing with the rise of the disease. So I went to the Agric office in Somanya to find out what effort they are putting in to help the farmers. Francis Niklote is the officer in charge of crops development at the directorate.
It is a disease that has been around for some time. And like I will say, as we speak, we do not have an effective control measure. However, we have a management approach, which we've taken a lot of the farmers through, which they are using now. Basically, because it is a bacteria, we normally use the simple disease triangle philosophy. That is, you either have an susceptible host, then we have the virus, the pathogen, and then we have the favorable environment. What we are doing basically in the management is to modify the environment. So we recommend the use of things like copper fungicide, basically. Now, with the application of the copper fungicide, the environment changes, so they are not able to multiply. So it stops the spread of the disease. However, it has also its challenges. Because the copper fungicide is a contact fungicide, what happens is anytime you spray and then it happens to rain, it's wash off. It means that you have to do a repeated spraying to avoid the spread of the disease. So the challenge we are having basically now, one is the high cost of spraying. Because you spray, it rains, you have to spray. On our part as a ministry or a Department of Agriculture, what we are doing is that we are doing basically training from the very foundation. What we are doing is that we are training the seedling operators. We have a very vibrant mango seedling operators group in the municipal. They produce averagely around 4 to 5 million seedlings per year. So what we do is that since it can be transmitted from the seedlings from one location to other, we ensure that in the production of the seedlings, we take them through trainings that they produce the seedlings under recommended practices. We have the good agronomic practices for nursery operators. So we ensure that first, the seedlings should not be raised under mango trees because they are mango seedlings, so that the spores can just drop on. Again, we have given a distance that they should stay away from the plantations. We ensure that they start treatment of the seedlings, the rootstock, with the copper fungicides right from the beginning. And then, when they are going to prepare the grafting material, the scions, what we do is that we ensure that they try as much as possible to identify trees which do not have the disease, or they do treatment of the trees before they pick the grafting material. The major challenge for farmers is that we need to have a mass spraying regime. Now, since it moves from plant to plant, carried by water and rain, if I am in farm A and I decide to spray, the one adjacent to me decide I will not spray, wait in the next 2 weeks. what effectively is happening is that my spray is rendered useless. Because once it rains and the wind blows, it will blow the spores and the rest onto my field. So we need a concerted effort, a united front. If just like we have cocoa, where we can have a spraying gang, a spraying team. When it is time to spray, every farmer is spraying. So within a space of a week, everybody sprays, every farm is sprayed. That is, for me, the best way by which we can manage or minimize the incidence of the disease.
For the farmer, the government has been slow to take action, but Municipal Chief Executive for the Yilo Krobo Municipal Assembly, Eric Tete, says they have taken some steps.
So when I assumed office about 5 months ago, I tried to find out what really the problem was. And I realized it was very daunting. And so for me, I realized that we should get to the root cause of it, not just to pay lip service to it. So in my visits to the university there, I challenged the university authorities that one of the things that they can do to help our people was to research into this disease and so that we could find a lasting solution to it. I did so because as we speak now, there is a factory that is being set up here. And this factory hopes to use this mango to do its business. That's not the only project here. The Ministry of Trade has also established what we call this Enable Youth, where they've built, the building is already there, and that they are bringing equipment so that about 30 youth will be selected to manage that place. What are they going to process? They are going to process mango. And so it tells you that mango was going to drive our economy here. And so this disease is a big bother to us. And my encounter with them shows that they need government support. And for me, once we have this tree crop development authority in place, where mango is one of the flagship crops that the government wants to leverage on, I believe that it will not be out of place if the request that they are asking government comes into it. And I believe this government is a listening government. And anything that will be done to ensure that we are able to win this war, we will certainly do it.
Mango is a fruit which can be found in almost all homes in Ghana. In the Somaya area here, majority of the people are involved in mango farming. But there is a devastation on hand. A disease called the Bacterial Black Spot is wreaking havoc on farms in this area. If you look at the mango in my hand, it is just 2 months to maturity, but because of this BBS, it had to be cut down. Farmers say they have complained a lot to the government, but no help seems to be coming to them. It has resulted in most of them regretting that they ever invested into mango farming. They ask the question, till when will government come in? And what must happen before government will see that this is something that needs an urgent attention? It is their hope that government will tomorrow or any moment soon come to their aid, because they are really suffering from this bacterial black spot. It is an urgent need for government to attend to. From Somaya in the Yilo Krobo municipality, my name is Samuel Kojo Brace for Joy News.
Well, so it's time now for us to broaden the conversation here on the polls. Joining me now via Zoom is Davis Krobia, a board member of the National Tree Crop Development Authority. Thank you, sir, for joining us this afternoon on the poll. So, first of all, there's quite some sufficient knowledge that you have into this industry. Tell us about the black spot bacteria and what its effect could be on mangoes generally.
So thank you very much, and let me make some questions. My name is Davis Krobo, not Krobia. Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I listened to the documentary, and I felt it is well captured. Yes, BBS, Black Bacterial Spots, for that matter, it's been with us for some years now, which of course is devastating most of the farms. As we speak now, most of the people are cutting their trees down, some are selling their farms, etc. And the only remedy we have now is to research into it, and for government, when I talk about government, I'm talking about the Tree Crop Development Authority, to get themselves involved ASAP. What I know that the tree crops is doing, that tree crops under the Tree Crops Act 1010, their mandates, they work in 4 broad operational areas termed the strategic focus, that's the FFS. One is to research support, 2 production and value chain support, 3 capacity building, and 4 licensing and regulation. So if you look at these 4 strategic areas, BBS call for research, and that is what Tree Crops hopes to quickly do for the farmers. If you look at the production and value chain support, that is where Tree Crop will look at either cut some of the farms, the trees down, and give them, how do you call it, support in terms of seedlings and other things to be able to replant. Also give them inputs to be able to combat the, how do you call it, the BBS. As you listen to the people, BBS management is pretty expensive, where you have to spray chemicals, copper to be specific, which is contact. And if it rains, then you have issues that you need to repeat it. Or even though the chemicals are not cheap, you have no choice than to be able to do that if you really want to save your investment, or maybe cut down the losses. I'm using cut down the losses because for investments, as far as BBS is concerned, you can't save it, but then you can cut down your losses. And so once that happens, we are looking at the tree crops coming in, like I said, and we're also looking at the deploying capacity building, which of course most of the farmers for capacity building, they are up there, they know what to do. So for me, it's the financing base and the support, that is the input, which is very critical. And that is what I know Tree Crops is trying to do. Currently, as we speak, Tree Crop now, they are in Kofor, they are trying to validate the strategic document to get a cabinet memo on it, then we go to Parliament and others so that work can begin. But as I said, last year, I know they started some seedling support. This year, for instance, they advertised for another seedling support to be able to cushion the farmers in a way. But the most important thing is how do we fund all these things? And that gets back to Tree Crops, where I know the arrangements are being put in place to be able to help the farmers mitigate their loss. If you ask me, if that is not done ASAP, we won't find mango farms in the next 2 years, because believe you me, the industries are losing because the processors are not getting enough to process, and that has been a problem.
Well, I was just coming to that point, just to find out how long it would take for all of these processes to be exhausted, because the farmers are in dire need of support.
You know, Tree Crops was re-inaugurated just last week, and just after that, we'll be looking at how peculiar and how serious the issues are. The board decided to have a marathon meeting from 1 p.m. through to around 10 p.m. And most of these things were part of the decisions that we're about to take. And that's the more reason why, like I said, as we speak today, the document is being validated for us to move to the next year. And as I am a commercial farmer myself, I am a proper mango farmer. So we on the board are now putting taking any chances. But the only thing we are doing to push to make sure that within this year something is done. Because for research, I think that, and Obed mentioned it, if you go to Brazil and others, they've done it and it's working. And they've put in a lot of revenue, a lot of money. That is cushioning the farmers and activating process for them to have a game changer. So why are we not doing it here? And the issue here is we are pushing that we get it done ASAP to save issue. Like I said, the processors, currently they even go outside the country to go and source for fruits, which is not the best, because if you look at the mango, there's so many enclaves alone, can produce a lot. Now we have 4 different enclaves. We have the middle belt, we have the northern belt, we have the middle belt and southern belt. That's 3 main enclaves. And we have over 200,000 hectares planted currently. So if nothing is done about BBS, which is a cross-cutting issue across board, the entire nation, then it means we will have issues. We will have unemployment will set in, farming will set in, because people basically will lose their investment, they won't know what to do. So I can assure you that we are pushing hard to make sure that this year something is done about it.
I'm grateful, Davis, that you've been able to join us here on the Pulse. We're still